this guy, when I first saw him, with the Team Nationals, you came walking back, you had them striped hot skin shorts on.
Yeah.
I think you had like a T. Michael sweatshirt.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a pink one. Yeah.
So I remember this. Blonde hair came walking in, and his legs, I had big legs, right? This dude had like giant legs. And I'm like, everybody's like, oh shit, look at this guy. And I'm like, there's no way this dude's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So he started stripping down. I was like, nah, freaking dude looks pretty good, man.
Yeah. All right, so we're back, episode 27, Cutler cast, and we have my good friend and someone I've battled a few times with, Branch Warren. Welcome to the show, man.
What's up, Jay? How are you? Thanks for having me.
And it's good to see you guys rolling on this big super bus. Michael's pride and joy. I mean, it's pretty cool to see this. I've seen a lot of the videos, and I see everyone sleeping on this bus. What's up with that? Like, everyone falls asleep.
Well, man, it's like, when you fly first class, those big comfortable chairs that recline back, all that. So that's kind of what it is. So it's, if you're not driving, so like we're driving back from the Arnold, and it's like 1 in the morning. It's like a rainstorm. I'm going like 20. I can't even see the road. Dude, all these motherfuckers are sleeping and snoring. I turn around, Keon and Martin are like about to fall out of their chair. They're so.
I see them. They have some nose things on. What does that do?
You hear how bad they snore with that nose thing? Imagine without it.
Well, see, I haven't heard the snoring stuff because I only kind of watch. I don't listen to a lot of sound with these things. But so I pull up this morning, and this big bus is parked in my parking spot. I always yell at Matt for taking over with his big truck, and I see this.
I purposely parked it
this big fan, and I said, okay, I'm going to let it go because I know it's Michael and it's GASP and Better Bodies and the man, right? So who's now kind of your partner, right? I mean, it's congratulations on all that success, and now we're just talking about the gym down there and the culture of Texas, and I got to experience that. But I want to go back a little bit. When it first started, we first met at Teen Nationals. I was 19, and I think you were 17.
18. I just turned 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were winning the Teen Nationals, and you won everything else along the way. Because I remember seeing you on American Muscle magazine, Luzowick's show, and
that dude used to call you every day.
Every day.
Every morning.
Every morning asking me how big I was.
Yeah,
and
flex your bicep, feel it.
And
when he gets to that, I'd hang up on him.
And for me, I was seeing this kid that was ahead of his time. The legs were phenomenal. I always felt like, wow, his legs are a little overpowering for the upper body, but you seem to win a lot of stuff leading up. And that was when they had AAU and NP. We went to the NPC Teen Nationals, which is in Raleigh, Durham. And you had, what age did you start competing?
So I did my first show. I was 16.
Okay.
So I grew up in West Texas on a cattle ranch, right? So, I mean, the closest neighbor was like 8 miles away, right? The school was so small, the 2 best looking girls were my freaking cousins. So, my best friend was like a dog, so way out in the sticks. And so in high school, we moved to Fort Worth. So life got exponentially better. But, that's back when they didn't give out participation medals, man. You had to make the team and all that stuff, So I played football. And,
How many kids in your high school?
So when I graduated, my high school, we had about 600 in my class.
Okay.
So about 2,400 in the whole high school. Where I came from, we barely had enough guys to have a football team, have 11 guys.
Really?
Yeah, so that's how small it was. So when I moved to Fort Worth, I wasn't stupid. I was like, I better work out, get a little bigger, stronger if I'm going to have a chance of making the team. So I used to slip in this gym, and I met a bodybuilder. And he kind of started showing me how to work out. And then fast forward a little bit, I made the team, made varsity as a freshman. And then he took me to Metroflex the next summer and introduced me to the owner, Brian. And this guy turned out to be Ronnie Coleman's workout partner.
What was his name?
Mark Allen.
Okay, I remember reading about him in the books back in the day. I remember reading you kind of had a mentor, right? Someone that showed you the way.
So I walked in the gym that first day, and of course, we were super poor. I had no money. And I told Brian, I said, hey, I will do this show at the end of the summer. Can I clean the place up, take out the trash to work out my membership? He said, let me look at you. So I hit a few poses, and he said, tell you what, kid, he said, you train here for the show, you represent and win, you don't have to pay a membership. Because if you lose, you work it off. Well, 30 years later, I still work out there, and I still have a lot of membership. So that's how it all started.
Yeah, I mean, that's become kind of like your home, right? I mean, where you are, and you know, obviously Ronnie Coleman. I got to visit that gym in '96. But, you know, so when you started training, you know, what was your expectations? Like, did you have a vision on being as great as you became as a teenage bodybuilder?
You know, when I first started training, I just want to make a team. And I thought, okay, cool, I'll have abs, be muscular,
Yeah.
be good for girls, you know. And then it very quickly turned into like, this is something I want to do. And by the time we went to the 2 nationals, I'd won the AAU Teenage Miss America that same year. Back then, AAU was still pretty strong in certain parts of the country. And I went to the 2 nationals, and then when I got back from that show, I remember I was driving to Metroflex. I planned out my entire career when I drive from my house.
Really? And what was that?
So I was like, I want to be a pro bodybuilder. I want to win the classic. I want to win the Olympia. And I had short-term, medium, and long-term goals. Obviously, the Arnold Olympia were the long-term goals. But I just stuck to it. That being said, I knew that I wanted to get education, get a degree, because there's no guarantees in life.
Yeah.
So,
And you just started competing, and you ran through the whole circuit, won everything. And conditioning was like I think was really what put you ahead of a lot of the teenagers, right?
yeah, for sure. I think I was bottom heavy. You know,
I was also.
So we both were. So this guy, when I first saw him, with the 2 nationals, you came walking back, you had them striped hot skin shorts on.
Yeah.
I think you had like a T-Michael sweatshirt.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a pink one. Yeah.
So I remember this blonde hair came walking in, and his legs. I had big legs, right? This dude had like giant legs, and I'm like, everybody's like, oh shit, look at this guy, and I'm like, there's no way this dude's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So he started stripping down. I was like, nah, freaking dude looks pretty good, man.
Yeah.
So you know, that's the first time I met Jay.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that my legs didn't have a lot of cuts then. And eventually, like, I had some of the deepest cuts, and, you know, we were both known for our legs. I mean, there's still the battles on who has the greatest legs in bodybuilding. I mean, seems like the generations now forget about plats, and, you know, they look at, like, the current guys, and, you know, we're definitely up there with, like, some of the biggest legs. And, you know, I was a huge squatter. I don't know how you trained your legs, but I was taught in the beginning to really do a lot of squats, right?
I squatted every workout for almost 25 years.
Do you still squat right today?
Yeah, we do box squats. You know, and so it doesn't hurt my knees, doesn't hurt my back. You know,
So what is that? Tell me what that.
put a box down, go down to where you're.
Sit. Okay. So it engages and gets the fibers.
Takes it off your knees, takes it off your back. 'Cause at this point, somehow after all these years, I feel really good. Knees and joints, everything.
It's amazing, right? I tell people the same thing. I'm 48. I'm older than you, and I feel amazing.
Yeah, I feel. Don't ask me how. But well, we've been doing this for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I feel great. You know, I was talking with Johnny. He's talking about the Masters of Olympia.
And how old is Johnny Jackson?
50. He'll be 51 this year.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, and I told him, I was like, man, I said, I'm healthy inside and out. Don't ask me how. But I played Russian roulette for a long time, and I won. Not playing.
But that's the culture of Metroflex. I mean, it's kind of legendary. And I mean, you know, now, of course, they've franchised it. And Brian Dobson's been a huge person of, like, giving you the opportunity, I think, right? I mean,
There would be no Ronnie Coleman. There'd be no Branch Warren.
what's he?
Brian.
What does he provide to you guys besides having a home to train? Does he actually get in the gym? Does he push you guys? I mean, has he trained with you?
Jay, I think everybody has a talent in life. Some people realize what that talent is. Some people never find it. But I think everybody has a talent. Brian's talent is he sees potential in people. He sees ability. And I've seen him take kids, and I look at him like, why are you doing waste your time with this kid? He'll take him and make him into something because he'll see something in them that nobody else sees. They don't even see in themselves. And, you know, with Ronnie, it's pretty easy. When he walked in the gym,
He knew, right?
He knew right away this guy could be really, really good. And with me, he saw something, and that's his ability, and he's the ultimate motivator. You know, when you walk in that gym, you just want to train hard. And I mean, it's dirty, it's shitty.
No air conditioning.
I mean, if it wasn't for Brian, no one would train there. You know, but he's because of what he's created and the people that have gone there and the champions that come out of there, he's turned it into something that everybody knows about.
What did he tell you, though, in those early years, like, as he saw the progression? Did he think that you would become as spectacular as you did?
I asked him that one time, and he goes, man, I thought you'd be good. Because I didn't think you'd do what you did. He goes, but that being said, I didn't think Ronnie'd go on to be 8-time Mr. Olympia either. He goes, I knew he'd be good.
Yeah.
He goes, I knew right then the day he walked in, he goes, he'll be pro. He goes, but I had no idea he would take it to the level he did. He goes, the same thing for me. He said, because I knew you both had that potential to be really good. He goes, and we go beyond what anybody could imagine, because I can't say that.
But did you think that?
Did I think it? I believed in myself. Like I told
Like
you,
mapped it out, but
mapped it out.
But you know, we all have a little uncertainty sometimes, right? I had Chris Aceto in my corner telling me, like, you can be one of the best. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we went to the teen nationals. We you know, we won you won the whole thing. You beat me there in the overall, but you won, and you know, I had high expectations. That's truly when I knew that I wanted to be a pro bodybuilder, after the recognition I got there. Because remember, I didn't compete as much as you. I started, you know, competitions when I was 18 years old. And by, you know, the time I turned around, I was at the teen nationals, only because Lou Zawick, like, basically was like, you have to go compete here. And I don't know, you know if I was ready. It was only like my third competition. And I didn't know who would show up. And as a heavyweight, there was only one other guy. I mean, you had a deep class. I think you had several. I mean, some of the great, like, Caprice Murray was in there.
Lonnie St. Cloud.
Yeah.
Jeff Willett. You, me. There was some tough competition. That might have been one of the toughest teenage shows I think they ever had.
And that was the only time you ever competed in that contest, right? And you're coming out of that, like, you know, I knew right then what I wanted to do, and I just knew that, okay, now we're in men's division, though. So, like, how did you move forward? Because I didn't really see you pop up until I went to the Nationals in '96, and, you know, I had got some publicity in the meantime, and I would just kind of always asked about, where's Branch Warren? I mean.
So what happened to me was we did that show, then I went to I did the Texas State Championships, and the men, the open division, won that. Then went to the junior nationals in San Antonio, and got like 5th place. And then I went to school. So I went 4 years, went to school, and worked 3 jobs. And so I started powerlifting during that period of time. I never lost sight of what I wanted to do in bodybuilding, but working 3 jobs, paying for school, doing all that, there's no way I was going to bodybuild. So I started powerlifting. Started doing powerlifting meets because I could work out 3 days a week, and didn't have to do the diet. And it turned out to be a blessing because, you know, I did make progress in that period of time, and I think, you know, I really built a lot of density and thickness in me because of the way I lifted during that period of time, and which when I started bodybuilding again.
It's so different, though. But it seems like a lot of you guys, like even Ronnie had the powerlifting background, the competitions. How do you feel that type of training benefits in today's bodybuilding?
I think it gives you a foundation. You know, I mean, it gives you that thickness, you know, it gives you your chest and back and, you know, leg density and thickness that if you don't lift heavy weight like that, you're not going to have. You lifted heavy, you know, you still have that density and thickness. So I don't think you necessarily have to power lift to get it, but I think you do have to lift heavy. If you're trying to be Mr. Olympia, if you don't lift heavy, it's going to be hard for you.
Do you see a lot of guys today training like that?
No.
We talk about this a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of the guys don't train like you guys used to.
Well, do you feel like now they've changed, like the equipment has now created, like you just told me you're doing box squats. There's new techniques. I see guys in the gym and they're doing these, like they hold the dumbbell and they do this press. Like we didn't do any of that stuff, right? And I benched pressed today. I barbell bench pressed. I did chest today, which is a rarity, right?
135?
No, I only went 185. 185.
I'm like actually scared to go heavy because I'm afraid I'm going to tear something.
Yeah, so you know, but I still to this day, and I argue, you know, I had Milos on the podcast recently, and he said, what can't you do on a machine that you basically can't do with free weights, you know? And he thought the machines were more tension, but I think the balance and the mental, like mind to muscle connection is necessary for the free weights. And I still think that we've lost a little bit of the vision of how to weight train. Not to say you have to, like people look at your training and listen, you know, people like, oh man, I don't know how his joints survive. But it seems like what people don't understand, and I swing, like I do my curls, and I always say I'm the form king, right? I joke about it because I'm like all over the place, but I feel the movements.
You're still in control.
It's like I feel the movement. So when you train as ballistic as you do, how do you feel every rep?
Absolutely. I'm always in control of the weight. That's something like people ask, did I get injured? Of course I got injured. I got injured outside the gym. I never got injured inside the gym. And like I tell people, it's all about getting blood into the muscle. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
When you're on stage, or they say, "Oh wow, Jake can bench 500 pounds, perfect form," you don't give a damn. But all you're trying to do when you're training is get as much blood into the muscle as you can, train to failure, rest, recuperate, repeat, repeat, repeat. That's all it is. And I always feel the muscle when I'm training. I get sore, whatever muscle I'm training from usually, and I get a pump, and I'm in control.
Did you think you adapted some of that training style because of the ballistic powerlifting technique that you have? You know, because you have to do explosive movements, right?
Correct, but you know, like when you bench press, you know, it's you take the rack, you take it off the rack, you come to your chest, you pause, you wait for the press command, and you press up, lock it out, and rack it. It's very very controlled or whatever. And so, you know, I had that background. You know, squat, you know, deadlift. You know, you stand up with it, you wait for the judge to give you the signal, and you set it back down. And so it's very controlled, but it's explosive, and that's something I definitely incorporated into my bodybuilding, you know, training, because Johnny was the same way. But you know, people talk about the form stuff. Well, I powerlifted, and I was a pretty good powerlifter. Johnny was an excellent powerlifter. So, you know, if I'm being judged on form, then of course I'm using.
Yeah, he was like the strongest bodybuilder out, like for that.
Still,
he had that name for a while.
Strong.
Can you think of anyone that had that crazy dense muscle that didn't lift heavy or only use machines?
I mean, listen, you look at, like, I'm going to go backwards into like Kevin Leverone, even Flex Wheeler, who we used to see, Cormier. Like, these guys would barbell bench press incline 4 or 5 plates. They, you know, dumbbells. I remember they could do, you know, 180s, 200s. I mean, Ronnie, forget it. He was just toying with these weights more than I've ever seen anyone. But I just feel, I don't see any. I mean, remember, most of the gyms today, we were talking about the Vegas culture, and I mean, they took the heavy dumbbells out. Like, they're only allowed to go up to 150s in a lot of gyms just because of the liability, right? I mean, I would warm up with, you know, 120s, and I mean, 150s would be my second basically feel set. And I'd be, once I got up to 160s, 180s, like that's
your work.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing shoulder presses with 150 for 12 reps. So, I mean, I think it's absolutely necessary, but at the same time, I feel it's missing a lot in today's work culture.
Yeah, it's a different mentality for sure. It's, I mean, that's when we came up, the guys that taught us, that's how they trained.
So was Brian a big advocate of pushing guys like with heavy weights? And
you know, I think we were talking about this the other day. You know, Ronnie one time I watched one of his interviews and asked him about his training style, and he said, "Well, I lift the maximum amount of weight I can handle, do it as many times I can do it, and rest and do it again." And that's summed it up pretty. You know, the genius is in the simplicity, I guess. It's you can have all these fancy training schemes and everything. The bottom line is, it's about hard work. It's about lifting heavy weight, working to failure, rest, recuperate, repeat.
And so you went to the power, and then you got back into bodybuilding. You had your degree at this time, okay? Were you working a job, or what? How was your structure in order to start pursuing bodybuilding?
In my 20s, opened up a gym, and there in South Lake, and it was a personal training gym. So, you know, I had several trainers that worked for me in a private facility, and so I had that for all through my 20s, early 30s, and so I turned pro and I was 25, 26 when I turned pro, and so I had the gym, and then me and my wife got married. I was
Trish
30, you were 26, and then we started a logistics company, freight forwarding company, and shortly after we got that, it took off, and then so I sold the gym. We had the freight forwarding company for over 10 years until we sold it a few years back. And
what made you guys, like, how did you get into the freight company? Like, how did that process? Like,
so she used to work, she was a sales rep for a freight forwarding company there at the airport in Dallas. And I had some good friends that owned the freight forwarding company, so I knew a lot about it from being around them. And so we were actually on our honeymoon in Australia, and she lost her job. So, and she was freaking out, and I was like, "Don't freak out." I go, "We do it ourselves." She goes, "Well, I don't know how to start a business." I said, "I do." I said, "You just talk to customers, and I'll start the business, and we'll be all right."
Wow.
We ran with it.
Yeah, it's just like a random business for a bodybuilder to get in, you know, just freight forwarding.
No, but I think bodybuilding sets like, it gives you, it's hard to explain, but I tell a lot of the youth when they get into it now, it builds a structure for you. And like, do you think bodybuilding is the hardest thing you can possibly do?
Absolutely. I think the only thing that might be harder, maybe mixed martial arts fighting, maybe, because it's physically.
Yeah, technique, and you're doing it through the.
But yeah, bodybuilding is one of the most it may be the hardest thing because you never get away from it. I don't call it a sport, it's a lifestyle because you live it every single day. From the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you got to eat, you got to train, you got to rest. You know, there's all these things. Your entire day is structured around.
I call it a boxy lifestyle. So you're just like inside this, and it's just a full circle, right? A daily what goes on. But I feel it sets a great standard for like to make you a hard worker and dedicated to what you do because, you know, things just, you have to have patience, right? And it seems like, you know, which I didn't know before this, speaking to you on this topic, I didn't realize like you had a vision, but you basically got you step back a little bit to focus on your career and setting up like a safety net. And then you roll into, okay, I'm going to pursue this. You know, you have a relationship. Okay. Did that make a huge, like how did you figure out like, okay, I'm in the perfect realm to move forward and just go through the roof with this career?
I think you got to build your foundation, right? If you don't have a strong foundation, you know, you're building it, you're going to stand very long. And, you know, sometimes building a foundation that's the groundwork and that's the hard part. And, you know, so I want to get education because if you don't have an education, there's no guarantees in life. You could be driving to the gym, get a car wreck, and bodybuilding's over. You know, so, and I grew up really, really poor and really poor. And I was bound and determined I was not going to live like that. That being said, I didn't have a safety net either. So it was either sink or swim. So I took necessary steps to make sure I could always earn a living.
But people don't realize you're one of the most successful bodybuilders financially of all time.
Yeah. And I think that doesn't happen by chance. You can vouch for that too.
Listen, my biggest fear, I always say this, was to be broke, right? You hear all these stories about, oh, you know, bodybuilding takes everyone's money. You don't have success with it. And obviously, like, you have to have that mindset where you're never satisfied. And I think a lot of people are inspired by your mentality because, you know, you can tell just with your intensity, like you may be one of the most intense bodybuilders ever, but at the same time, it seems like you're never satisfied because every time I speak to you and we get to, you know, kind of communicate here and there, you know, you always have the next thing going on, but you're still, you know, you don't get complacent in anything that you do. What made that? Is that your upbringing or is it the support of your wife? I mean, I know you have a family. It's what drives you in that sense?
You know, so my father left us when I was in high school. So that's why we moved to Fort Worth, me and my mom. And we lived in a car, bro, for a couple of years. And imagine that. If you've never done it, I can't tell you how shitty that is. And I got a job working at a car wash. My mom got a job working at a burger joint just so we could have some money until we got enough money to get an apartment. And I vowed to myself when I was 14 years old, I will never live like that. My family will never live like that. So things that happen to you as a kid, I think it depends on how you process it. You either become like that or you say never again, whether it's, you know, a domestic violence situation or a financial situation, whatever it is. So I just told myself, not living like that. And so I'm going to figure out a way to do better. And I'm personally not going to live like that. And my wife and my daughter are not going to live like that. So I think you have to, we're blessed to live in a country where there's a ton of opportunities. And if you're willing to work, then you can be successful. And I think you always got to be looking ahead. There's no reason to look over your shoulder because you ain't going forward if you're looking over your shoulder. So think ahead and always have something else you're planning and keep moving.
And you were pretty young. I mean, she was really young when you guys met. So what did she think about, you know, jumping into the lifestyle of like eat, sleep, train? And, you know, obviously, and she's had a hell of a career around with what she's done.
You know, they just came out with women's fitness because back in the day they had women's bodybuilding and women's fitness. So when women's fitness came along, it was huge. You know, there would be 100 girls in a show, you know, for women's fitness. So she jumped.
Do you remember what year this was? Yeah, for the first time. And you were how old, do you think? 19, yeah. So that's when you guys met, right? 19.
And so then she won the Nationals in Dallas 2002 and turned pro and went on from there. And, you know, when we got together, you know, we were friends for a long time before we actually got together.
Okay.
I took her on a trip. She made me buy her own hotel room.
Really?
Yeah. It's awesome.
So she played hard to get a little bit,
bro,
huh?
You have no idea. You have no idea. Yeah, for a long time. So it wasn't until I told her to like go away that she started chasing me.
Yeah.
Her girls
Play the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, so, you know, she being pro herself, I tell people sometimes having two spouses that compete could be a good thing or a bad thing. And it depends on the people, I think. With us, it works because she put me first. And, you know, I asked her one time, I said, why, you know, you're doing the same show. And she says, well, it doesn't make sense for me to put myself first. She goes, you can get to a place and make more money if I win. And she goes, so that doesn't make sense. So, you know, she sacrificed. I think she could have actually done better than she did.
But you were the priority. Did you guys ever win at the same competition?
I've never won a pro show.
Okay.
She got third in Olympia. She got third at the
I know.
She got, I don't know how many second places, but probably about 10 second places. But she never got a victory.
You know, I walked in and I looked at you and I'm like, yeah, okay, Branch looks good. Then I looked at her. I'm like, damn, she still looks good. What's going on here? Like,
Hey, so let me tell you something.
yeah.
See, this is the deal. I said, hey, we get married and get old. You can't blimp out on me.
Okay.
I said, that's like breach of contract. Yeah, that's like breach of contract. So we don't have to renegotiate.
Marriage agreement? No blimp.
I said, I expect you to look like you did when you're, you know, 19, but, you know, come on, we gotta.
Well, see, my fiance tells me, we talked about this, like she said I can't have a shovel ass, which means, you know.
But you do.
That's like,
No.
that's like an old white guy ass.
Yeah, so she's like, that's the rule. So Michael's looking at me like, what's a shovel ass? You know, it's when you don't train legs anymore, Michael. It's, you know, we got to keep training our
You see them
legs.
old guys, they wearing jeans, and their jeans won't even stay up because they got no ass no more. So,
Like Manager Matt, you know.
Of course. I could care less about having big legs anymore.
Well, he hates training legs. I mean, it's still one of my favorite body parts to train, you know.
I used to,
Yeah.
but once you hit a certain age, you're like, fuck this.
So-
I just train them enough to just do a little bit.
So you guys, you know, obviously, so she trained at Metroflex also during these
she did, yeah.
years.
On and off, and then now she, you're there a lot now. I think you train there.
I'm there now more than I was when I competed.
So, you know, and it's, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. You got two people that are, you know, training for the Olympia together.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Like,
It's tough. So,
like, tell us how some of the days were in the house. Like, how'd you guys do? Like, did you do fasted cardio in the morning? Did you share equipment at home? And
we had all the cardio equipment at home. We had electrical and a treadmill and step mill and all that stuff. And I would get up, do my stuff first, and get out the door. Then she'd do her stuff. And you know, like I said, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. I mean, she's pretty chill when she diets and do all that stuff. Where me, maybe not so much. And you know, but
in the food prep and everything, like, who did all the food prep?
so when we first started living together, I was getting ready for my first Arnold Classic, 2006. So she just like took over all the cooking, which I'd never had anybody in my life.
You cooked your own food.
I weighed everything, did everything myself, took it with me. And I remember she brought it to me at work. It was hot. I'm like, this is nice. I'm eating it. It tasted so good. I got mad. I called up. I go, yo,
Something's in this,
What'd
yeah.
you put in my food? She goes, nothing. I go, this tastes way too good.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah,
You didn't put something in my food. I go, listen, I ain't getting ready for the Miss Fitness Olympia. I'm getting ready for the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
I said, so Arnold, whatever it was, I said, you can't be putting crap in my food. And she goes, I didn't. And so I got home. She shows me all the stuff she puts in it. I'm like,
That's the sickness of what we did, right? As bodybuilders, like, we knew that bland eating was the way.
That's what we
Okay,
did.
that was the
I
process,
literally took
right?
the chicken out of the package, trimmed the fat off, threw it on the grill, turned it, picked it up. That's all I did.
Did you have cheat days?
When I was pre-contest, never.
Right.
Never.
Today they all have cheat days, man.
We're in Columbus.
Right.
We're in Columbus, and I'm not gonna mention her name. But she's like freaking out because she don't have her scale to weigh her food. But then she opens up her food and she eating macaroni and cheese. And she's going for a contest. And I'm
Who
like,
the fuck's eating macaroni?
and I'm looking at her. I'm like, and I called her out. I said, "You worried about a scale and you're eating macaroni and cheese? What the hell?" She goes, "No, because of my macros." And I'm like, I just walked off. I was like,
Yeah, so macros and all this kind of stuff, like she just mentioned refeeds, like cheat day. Like, I grew up, like, we didn't have, it was like you ate a little more carbs, or, you know, might be able to have some red meat in that fish diet I did. Like, how important do you feel like the nutrition aspect? I mean, I know you've done tons of different programs, right? But in order to look your best, okay, I'm gonna get into like your best looks. Like, how important is the diet base of what you eat?
80%. I mean, 20% is the gym, 80% is diet. I mean, we've all know guys that go in the gym and train like maniacs, right? But they never really.
There's so much potential, right? That
We had
never
a guy
got.
trained with me and Johnny for years, and great guy, animal in the gym, but his off-season nutrition sucked, and we moved on, turned pro, moved up to pro ranks, and he never did because of nutrition.
Yeah, but you never got out of shape. You were never out of shape. Do you feel like the training allowed you to be less restrictive off season, or did you stay on like a crazy program year
I
round?
stayed pretty strict year round. And I learned early on, once we turned pro, if you get out of shape, that hurts your money, right? You don't get appearances, you don't get all these things, and so number two, getting in shape is easier if you're not 40 pounds overweight, and so I just never let myself get out of shape. I don't think I ever saw you out of shape either.
I mean, people would say, yeah, he was off season for sure, but I mean, we gained some water, but I stayed on a meal plan all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would have my burgers once in a while, but I didn't have a day where, like, I know when I had my cheats, like I would eat, my 6 meals, 5 or 6 meals, and then I'd usually have my cheats at the end of the day. It wouldn't be like I go out for breakfast and have a crazy breakfast. Yeah. But pre-contest, like, it was 16, 20 weeks of like straight, just protein, carbs, and minimal fats. And
So like what we do, like we go out to eat or something, and I'd order like chicken and potato, and I order a cheeseburger,
yeah,
and I eat the chicken and potato first.
of course, yeah.
And I'd eat the cheeseburger, and that's my treat, off season and stuff like that. So, but I had a structure year round. This is what you ate, and then you slipped in some stuff here and there.
A lot of guys nowadays don't do that. They just go to town on whatever. They'll have a whole cheat weekend or a whole cheat day because it fits their macros.
I just hate that word cheat because I'm like, like a cheat meal. Okay, you're getting ready for a competition. If you need to eat, then just eat more good food, right? Eat some potatoes or some rice. Why would you go out and eat a bunch of trash? To me, I think that's just an excuse because mentally you can't handle it, and you have a breakdown and want to eat some bad stuff. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think cheat really goes in Branch Warren's vocabulary. I mean,
I just don't get that.
right?
You're not going to go eat 3 pizzas and a tub of ice cream 3 times a day.
Fuck no, I want to beat him. So why would I do that?
No, so you let's talk a little bit about your career. So tell me like a couple highlights. You win a pro card, you were knocking at the door for a minute. I'm sure you were ecstatic about that, right? You win the nationals, right? You're an overall national winner.
I was Johnny won the overall.
Okay. So you won your class. I only won my class also. So yeah. I was a little disappointed. I mean, you mentioned you were in that I don't know what you finished at. Maybe did you get out of the top 15 that year? Or?
I didn't. That was the only show in my life I didn't make the top 15. So there's a long story behind that. But I knew going into it, it wasn't. I was trying to get ready for it. I was going to school, and
Just not in it.
just not in it. I really looking back on it, even after the show, even when I got to the show, I was like I should have pulled out of this thing because I wasn't ready. That's the only time I ever in my life I got ready for a show, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't 100% prepared when I got to the show.
But you got your pro card. Went into the pro division. Like your first pro victory was what?
Dallas Europa. Then a week later, I won the Charlotte Pro, and then went to Olympia, got 8th, and then went to Arnold.
Your first Olympia, you were 8th. Pretty outstanding. I mean, I was
Not many people are top 10 in their first Olympia. It's an accomplishment.
And obviously you're a multi Arnold Classic winner. You've been at the Olympia. How many Olympias were you in the top 5? And you were second at your best, right?
5 or 6 times out of the top 5.
It's hard. I don't count either. Like, I mean, I know like obviously I didn't compete.
Victories,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I have to sit and think about it.
And I don't really count like a lot of the other shows. Sometimes I got to think about what I did. But like, what is like your career highlights? If you could name like, for me, what's surprising for me and a lot of people, like I won the Olympia, right? Which you're probably looking at now as like, that's like the ultimate, right? But I talk about like, I won the Tournament of Champions when I was 22. It was a small show in California, but I landed my first Muscle and Fitness cover. Back then the magazines meant so much, right?
Huge.
And, we were on like, through, our sponsored ads, we became like every page in the magazine, right? I mean, we've done photo shoots together and, it's kind of crazy how lengthy our careers have gone together, right? We started off basically at the same time. And that was the thing, right? You were in the magazine, you were really
got
recognized?
that first magazine cover. That's a big deal. When I got my first cover, I was like,
What was that?
it was a muscular development.
Okay.
And, I got that, and I think that the next month I got Flex, and remember I took it to the gym. I was like, yo, check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
The person around there, Ronnie, gotten some covers.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
else had? And, magazines were the shit, and I was like, I was proud. I was like, yo, check it out, y'all. And I was like, oh, that's badass. And but then it just
Yeah, so I landed my first Muscle and Fitness when I was like 22. So you can imagine I was in the grocery store aisles. Like that's when the magazines were more relevant. And I thought like, okay, I made it, right? That was like winning the Olympia back then. And then, you transition forward and you become a winner of certain contests. And, I just recognize you as like, you were the guy that everyone seemed to count out. And why do you feel like people counted you out so often?
I don't know. I think people love you or hate me, right? And I think, I'm 5'7". If I was 5'10", I think it would have been a different deal. But I don't know. I think it's I really don't know. I think the reason I'm still successful in bodybuilding, being removed from the stage, is because of more of a personality and the training, and people relate to.
Yeah, no bullshit.
Yeah, the personality and the training, the struggle. I think that's what people relate to.
They can relate to that, yeah.
Than the physique. So, was I the prettiest physique up there? No. But, I learned very early on, I could win, and I won by conditioning and packing on a shit ton of muscle, just being thick. So,
looking at early on of your career, like I feel like you had really good aesthetics, right? But you mentioned your height, ratio compared to some of the other guys. Do you feel like you had to put on a lot of the extra mass in order to compete with the bigger guys?
The guys that were the top of our generation. You, Kai, Dennis Wolf, maybe Dexter wasn't that heavy per se, but most of the guys were pretty big dudes. So at my height, I competed, 2009, 2011. I was like low 240s, 240, 242, at 5'7". So, and I didn't start doing well on those big shows until I got
bigger.
And so was just a means to an end. I agree with you. I think I was more aesthetic. You look at how I looked in 2005.
I was too. I mean, I got way bigger than what I wanted to, and that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you feel you got bigger than what your ideal was?
How I looked when I won the Dallas Europa and the Charlotte Pro and got second at the Arnold in 2005 and 6. I liked how I looked then. I was a lighter.
Yeah.
So the waist was tighter.
How much did you weigh then?
230s, and probably low 230s, and but you fast forward a few years, I was in the 240s, and I had to get that muscle maturity. You had to get that extra. How your physique just changes.
Yeah.
And those small little details, then you start winning. And at the end of the day, we train to win, right? So it's do what you got to do. I prefer the 2005, 6 look over.
Yeah, like I look at 01 and I think that was like my best, and even like people talk about 09 and
what did you weigh?
06. 01 I was about 255. And it's kind of funny because, I went in when I won the Olympia, I was 273. And when I came back in 09, I was 254.
I had lunch with Honey last week.
Yeah. And did you tell him like you took an Olympia from me, or?
I did. I actually told him because
Yeah.
and he saying something. He got on the subject or something. I go, I fucking hate you. He's like,
Yeah.
If you I'd have had me in Olympia. I go, I probably would have had 2. And he started laughing. He's like, man, sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So tell me what I know you had victories, but what was your, like, you think the peak physique year?
I think the 2011 Arnold that I won. I think the 2009 Olympia. I weighed the exact same. I looked virtually the same conditions. So I think either one of those years would be arguably my best.
And what was your mindset? So in 2008, you finished what at the Olympia?
I did compete.
Okay, you were injured, or? Correct. That's right.
Yeah. So in 2007, I played in, I think in 2011 or 2008 or 7. I don't even remember.
Not really important, but it's not any. You weren't in the mix.
Yeah,
okay.
So
You had a chip on your shoulder coming into 09 because you were like, I'm going to prove something, right? I mean, you were probably confident going in, but Dexter had beat me in 08. he was coming in as the favorite in 09, and obviously he had Phil Heath coming up. It was just, you know, he had competed in 2008.
I think I competed against him in 08 at the
Arnold.
At the Arnold,
Yeah.
He got second, I got third.
Yeah.
So, and Kai, I think won those
Yeah.
shows. So, you know, going into it, I never really focused on anybody else. I remember in 09 Olympia specifically, you know, I started working for George. That's the first time I'd ever worked with anybody. And so he made some changes in nutrition. But I remember I did an interview and they said, "What do you think about Jay?" I said, "Jay's gonna look good." I said,
Did you think I was going to lose, though? Did you think I wouldn't have won it back? I mean, no one in history ever won it back.
"No," because you know what? You can look at someone's physique and you can tell them they're done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get to a certain point. We've all been there. You get to a certain point. We looked at ourselves and we're like, "All right, it's time to, this is it." But you didn't have that look yet. You just made sure you was off, and Dexter was on, and he slid past you. So in that regard, I was like, I knew as long as you were on, you'd be back in the fight. Dexter looked real good. I knew he'd be in shape because Dexter looked the same. I mean, Dexter's 60. He looks just like he did when he's 20. So he don't ever change. So I knew he'd be good. As far as me, I had no idea. As I started prep for the show, you know when you're going to be.
So when you were there, like, I know George is telling you you're going to win the show, right? Of course. We know this. Yeah. So you guys are here. The show's at the Orleans. You're heading into a Friday night prejudging. What was your take on it? How did he look? I mean, was this like, this is your best ever?
Yeah, that Friday night or Friday, I knew that's going to be the best I ever looked, you know. But do you ever know how you're going to do?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. If I told you I did, I'd be lying. I had no idea.
But you weren't sure with the call-outs. I don't think it would justifiably put you in a second-place position, right? It was all over the place.
Friday night, we got back to the room. She goes, "What do you think?" I said, "I'm top 5."
Yeah.
I said, but I have no idea.
It's kind of funny that it didn't seem like you were pushing, like, you know, from the call-outs, right? We thought, okay, for sure, just by how it works.
The way the call-outs worked, I told her, I said, she goes, "What do you think?" I said, "Dexter and Jay."
Did you think Dexter was going to win, or?
No, I didn't. I didn't know. And you know, she showed me pictures or something. She goes, you know, standing next to Dexter or something. She goes, "You're beating me from the rear and this and all this stuff." And I said, "Well, it was close." I mean, Dexter would not have been his best.
Yeah.
Ever. And so I had no idea. I knew I was going to be up there in the top 5 somewhere. So beyond that, I had no idea. And I remember we were sitting on stage and they started doing it. You know, I never got nervous at a show until they started doing the call-outs and the placings.
And what did you think when it came down to you and I, and we were standing
they
there?
called Dexter in 3rd place, and I'm like, "Damn, I did be Mr. Olympia." And then I was like, "I did be Mr. Olympia, and I still ain't won the show yet." How does this happen? But so I had no idea. You know, it just they called me. They called, you know, your name, you won, and I got second. And it's the worst. Getting second place in Olympia is the worst.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I've done it a lot.
Everybody listening right now, people saying, "Can you have it so awesome?" I'm like, no, that sucked. Getting second place at the Mr. Olympia is the worst placing in all of bodybuilding because you're one small step from the grand prize, but you didn't make it. And I'd have rather got 3rd than.
Yeah, listen, I was super proud. You know, I remember I took your hand and I said, you know, just always wanted to show respect because, like, I knew I won, right? I wasn't even, like you said, I wasn't really concerned with anyone. I knew I had improved that much that it was enough for the judges to, and I wasn't even sure how great you looked. I remember, you know, Kerry coming back and saying, "Oh, Branch looks really good," you know, but it wasn't like, you know, you're just, that was my best, right, in years. And, you know, winning that. And
that's when I was told Honey that last week we're eating. I said, my opinion, that was his best look ever was that 09 year.
Combination, right?
And he pulled it all together, especially after coming back from the defeat. And, you know, the Mr. Olympia is about being big. And like I told people, that, you know, you got screwed. I'm like, no, you get screwed. I hate when people say that because, first of all, I'm 5'7", I was 242. You were 5'10" almost, and almost 260 at the show. Bigger is better in bodybuilding. If you get 2 guys that are in equal conditioning or in close in conditioning, the bigger guy usually wins, and that's just the way it is.
But did that change your vision? You landed second at the Olympia. Like, was there a time where you're like, I can definitely win this now, or were you still confident, like, I could be Mr. Olympia at some point?
No, I think it makes a believer out of you, right?
Of course. I mean, you're right there.
I mean, it's
and people probably told you, oh, you could have won this thing, right?
well, you got second place, so of course
Yeah.
you're within striking distance. So, you know, if there's any doubt, I think I raced it at that point. I was like, okay, I can actually do this, you know, potentially and win one of these. But you know, there's how many guys won that show? 16, 65 years, something like that. So,
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking about? Just listening to you two. When's the last time you had 3 guys that all hit their all-time best? You, Jay, Dexter, 09, at an Olympia, where 3 guys were literally. You could argue that there was all 3 of their all-time best.
Who was 4th? Do you remember? Was he 4th? Okay.
Fourth and Phil fifth.
Okay, Phil was, but Phil was.
Kai got 4th.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Kai got 4th.
And he moved to. No, he got 4.
No, he got 4th. He got 4th.
Well, he came to Vegas to train like Rocky style, and I remember seeing him at the Flamingo Gold's gym, and I'm like, man, he like moved here and got an apartment and everything, and I'm like, I wonder how this guy's gonna look, you know, and you know, I was uncertain at that point. I was like, am I ever gonna get this thing right? At this point, the last 2 years I had been off. I mean, you know, I was kind of given certain places just because of the name. I feel, in that, you know, I'm looking back, you know, out of respect, but it was like I needed to put something together. So that's why obviously I switched to Hani. And, you know, we talk about support system, right? So you have to be real with yourself. But I feel like over and over you tend to prove to people, you know, you tend to prove people wrong where they thought that you were limited on what you could do. And you just wouldn't go away, right? I mean, you were constantly just getting better and better. To the point, and you know, like I mentioned, you know, you were in demand so much, but how did it really, like, did you expect your career to go that long? And I want to get into the injuries because you had probably more obstacles than a lot of people. I mean, you tore the tricep. It was a tricep or bicep?
Both
or
triceps. Both triceps. Yeah, both triceps.
And you were in, I remember being at expos when you're in the sling, you know, or in the sling, and you know, I want to get into the quad tear because that you just defied any odds of anything.
Well, the best revenge is success, right? So
yeah,
like, I think of our generation, I don't think anybody got counted out more than.
No, they did. They didn't.
You know, and so usually, you know, something would happen, and everybody write my obituary that I was done, and then the best way to get them back is don't say nothing, just go win, and that's what I tried to do. So you just I stayed focused. I don't think I never really got to. I don't think I ever took it in and enjoyed it like I should have, maybe. Because I was so focused on training, you know, you win a show, no matter what it was, and I'd go out and celebrate a little bit that night. The next day,
right back at it.
I didn't even want to think about it because I was focused on the next one, and I never really took time to take it in and enjoy it. So, you know, I think that goes back to my mentality as a kid. I never wanted to, if I was afraid if I ever took back and enjoyed it too much, I might lose that thing inside us that drove us, and so I never would. I protected it so fiercely that I wouldn't celebrate that much or enjoy it. I just stay focused.
I know, but you're sitting out contests watching guys advance, and you're like, what's going through your mind during these times? I know you were limited time. It wasn't like it was lengthy recoveries for a lot. You seemed to bounce back really quickly. And
so the first time I got hurt was tricep was 08, and it was 06, maybe 04. When did I do the first tricep tear? 03, yeah. And then 08 was the second one. I partially tore it, and then I actually did the GNC short strength as my second competition. I placed up in the money, and I got a paycheck. My second show, I had it repaired, then bounced right back from it. Won the Dallas Europa Charlotte Pro, 8th at the Olympia, 2nd at the Arnold, and then 08, I was getting ready for the Olympia, 30 days out, and I actually went hog hunting. And her nephew was in town, and I promised to take him, you know, do the whole dog thing. And she's like, don't go. What if you get hurt? I'm like, I'm going to get hurt. I do this all the time. And we're 30 days out, and I normally didn't do stuff like that close to the Olympia because I stay home and stay focused. And we're going through the woods, and there's some briar stuff, and we're trying to get to the hog. And anyway, I trip over these briars and fall wrong and on this log, and the tricep pops off. And so then I'm mad as hell. Then her nephew wanted to be a little bitch. Then her nephew was like pussing out, wouldn't kill the hog. So I got him by the back of the neck. I'm like, you better kill this fucking hog.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. So, and he don't know I tore my tricep. And so anyway, I came home and I told her, I was like, hey, I got to call the doctor. She's like, what'd you do? I tore my tricep. And she just looked at me. I'm like, don't say it. Do not say it. So that knocked me out of the '08 Olympia. And but it was, if you're going to tear something, I think a tricep is probably.
Why is it the best thing to tear?
It's a very simple fix. And it's
Okay.
It's a pretty fairly simple recovery. And it comes back really quick. You know, fast forward to 2011. 30 days out from Olympia, 4 weeks out. I went to guest post for a rope man in Georgia. And usually about 9 to 10 weeks out, I stopped traveling. And I did him a favor. I was like, all right, I'll fly on Saturday morning. I'm going to fly out Saturday night after the show. And get there, we go eat. I had my food. He got picked me up. My buddy picked me up, and he was hungry, so we went to a restaurant. Of course, I'm eating my Tupperware food. And we're walking out, and it's raining. I slip off the curb, and my left, it's like the handicap spot, right? And it's a thunderstorm, so I step off the curb, and I step on it. There's water on it, and my left foot just slides out in front of me. My right foot, there's a lip on the curb about 1.5 inches. It catches that lip, and you're trying to stop yourself, right? So it's like a concentric force. You're flexing your quad, trying to pull back, but you're still slipping.
Yeah.
And it just went pop, and I went right to the ground. And I'm like,
You knew it was torn.
exactly what it was. And of course, it's pouring down rain. My buddy's like, hey man, he goes, get up, dude, get in the car. And I'm like, I can't. I remember I grabbed my knee, and that muscle right there, the vastus medialis, ain't there. And I'm like, oh shit, this ain't good. And I'm sitting there, everything goes through my head. I'm like, is this how it's gonna end? I'm like this close. Just got second at Olympia, won the Arnold.
You won the Arnold, yeah, a few months.
A few months earlier, and I'm like, this is how it's gonna end, because no one had ever really come back from it. Victor had done it, but he never came back. I think 100%. Some other guys have done it, and they never really came back 100%. And I'm laying there in the rain. I'm going, this is how it's going to end. Slipping off a curb in a damn rainstorm. And so I called her, and I said, give me a ticket home. I flew home. I called my doctor at the airport, and this is on a Saturday. He said, I'll meet you at the office on Sunday.
So by this point, you already have a doctor that's fixed all these tears, right?
Yeah. And I get home. He meets us at the office like 9 o'clock Sunday morning, and get some x-rays. He said, get an MRI at 6 in the morning. We'll do surgery at 9.
Mm-hmm.
So the next Monday morning, I had it reattached. And so Wednesday, I'm sitting on the couch, reading all the bullshit everybody's writing about me on the internet and everything. And everybody's, he's done, blah, 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 blah.
You let him read that stuff?
I normally don't.
Yeah.
She would do all my media for years because I wouldn't expose myself.
Yeah.
I would never expose myself to anything negative. But I'm reading this crap. And so I read it for 2 days. And Wednesday, I got so mad. And I threw my freaking phone over it was. And I told her, I said, I'm doing the Arnold. She goes, like in 6.5 months? I go, yeah. She goes, we better start eating. And she went and cooked a big thing of chicken and rice and put it in my lap. And I'm like, I started eating. And that's when my prep started. So I couldn't even walk, right? So
you were in the gym training all the other body parts?
Started from the couch.
So I went to the gym. At the end of that week, I went to the gym. And I walked in on crutches. And Johnny goes, yo, what are you doing, bro? I said, I'm getting ready for the Arnold. He just looked at me. And I remember his exact words were, fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And we did it. So that being said, it was the hardest thing I'd ever done.
That was the most incredible comeback in bodybuilding history, in my opinion, from an injury.
I just, you know how hard you worked
Yeah.
to get where you were. And I'm like, I was not going to, when I left the sport and retired, it's going to be on my terms. When I decided, there was nobody going to force me out. Nobody's going to tell me when I was done.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was going to make me quit. So I was like, when I'm done, I'm going to be the one to decide it. And I went to work. It was the most painful thing physically I'd ever done. And it sucked. But, I think if you're really motivated, people don't realize what your body can do if you're mentally strong and you really want something.
You believe in yourself.
And I believed in myself. And people were like, there's no way. And I just, everything that was negative in my life, I made it into a positive. And I use that to fuel me. I fuel my workouts. And that was the most focused, most dedicated I had ever been for any show at that point. And I reached out inside myself and pulled stuff out I didn't know I even had. And, I would train. When I got done with the physical therapy part of it, and I got back in the gym, my first day in the gym, I had one 45-pound plate on that leg press in Metroflex. 45 pounds plus a sled. I could barely get 10 reps.
Were you scared or?
I had no idea. I was,
Yeah.
Are you scared? Yeah, you're scared because
But they say it repairs, like an injury
it's stronger.
is stronger, right?
But mentally, it's in your head. And I remember I came down, I had one 45-pound plate, and my leg was just doing this all the way down. I barely got 10 reps. And I'm like, at this point, I've got, 5 months left and to the show. And I'm like, And instead of getting defeated, I got mad, man. So I did another set. Then I did another set, and another set. I did like 30
But you had
sets.
to be smart because you had to like work your way back in. I mean, so if someone's trying to recover from an injury, like, you know, you're like going against the odds of
100%.
probably not what the doctors expected you to do, right?
Yeah, well, he told me it would be a year before I could even think about like bodybuilding training.
And I remember you doing squats like with heavy plates and everything, like pretty much
I got
2 weeks out.
I got up to 315 on squat before the show. It wasn't until after the show that I was able to go, 400 or 500 pounds. But I mean, I give credit to Brian for it because I went to Brian after that little incident I was telling you about the leg press, and I was like, "Hey, bro, I need some help on this one."
So he came and pushed you in the gym, and
he told me how we're going to do it. It's the only time I ever disagreed with Brian about training. And the next day we came in and we had the whole conversation again because I wasn't really sold on how he was saying do it. And finally I said, you know what, it's in your hands. Let's just do it. And thank God I did. So we started to work on it, and he trained me. And dude, it was the most gut-wrenching crap I'd ever been through. Because it just hurts. I mean, trying to get full range of motion back, then when you start actually lifting again. And but there was days I get so mad. I remember I took my brace off one day and I threw it in a river. I was so mad, just because it's just frustrating.
I figured that would be one of the best victories that you had because
It was better than anything I ever.
Yeah, because you were uncertain, right?
So, you get there, and it was 30 days out. I posed at the gym, and I went home, and I said, I'm going to be able to compete. And I knew I was going to be able to compete, but at 30 days out, I posed, and I came home, and I told Trish, I said, I can win this.
It's crazy because I was at the booth signing, and people come back with the prejudging happens. We're not allowed to leave. And like, Branch is going to win this show. I couldn't believe it, because even I was like, oh, there's no way he can come back from a quad tear like that. And you were able to do it. And, now, you have all this intensity with what you do, right? All this vision, and you step away from the stages, and now you transitioned more into business. And it seems like you have a million things going on, retirement. I hate to call it retirement because I think you're busy than ever, right?
People say that. I said, yeah, I retired, then I got busy. So,
I know, but when you decided to walk away, like, was there any thought in the coming years? I know it's been a minute. So what was your last year?
2016.
Okay. So you've like said, okay, I'm done. Have you thought, like, I know for me, like 1 or 2 years after I stepped away, I was like, well, maybe I still got it. Right. After watching a couple of shows, we've been at a couple of shows, and I've said to you, what do you think?
I think we were at
where were we?
it was at the 2016 or 2017 Olympia. We were all sitting there, and the guys were on stage, and I remember I was like, man, I could still be up there, because when I stepped down, you just know, right?
Yeah.
I did that last show, and I didn't know that was gonna be my last show. I made no announcement. We got back to the room, and I was like, I'm done. She goes, you sure? I go, yeah, I'm sure. And because every bodybuilder this happens to, most guys it's like 38 to 42 on average.
Yeah.
Some guys, there's freaks that can go longer, but your body just changes, and you lose a little something. I don't know how to articulate it, but you lose something, and it's just, you don't look the same. And no matter what you do, you can't get that back. It's just age. And I was 41, and I competed way longer than I ever thought I would. I thought about 33, 35, it'll be a wrap. And at 33, 35, I was just hitting my stride. And so I just knew I was done. And then you go to Olympia, and I'm looking up there, and I'm like, man, I could still be up there in the thick of that. And so you think about it for a minute, and by the time I got back to the room, I was like, nah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
So,
because you obviously have a family, and you're. I don't know if I'm going to ask, but you retired or? She said she is, right? I mean, she's still young enough to do it, right?
She can still do it. She was actually considering making a comeback this year and competing.
I did hear that. That's why I'm kind of asking.
Yeah, so
Does that mean you're going to cook her food then?
I was I was gonna put the focus on her for the probably the first time, and I told her I'd support her 100%.
So would it be fitness, or would you transition to another division?
So what happened was Jen Hernandez.
Yeah.
They were Trish, Jen, and then
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I had seen her
So
like
she came in, she stayed with us, and they were all trained for the same show. They all wanted to compete together, and she left our house on Tuesday, Thursday morning. She passed away.
yes,
So after that, it just
just changes a little bit.
it puts things in perspective.
Yeah,
So
life's short, right?
it is.
But you've now taken so talk a little bit about I'm going to say like non-competitive life now and how that transition's been for you. You know, you're a hard worker. Obviously, you have a bunch of brands that you're focused. I mean, Wicked Cuts has been phenomenal for you. We talk about GASP, and I know you're doing some endorsements with supplements too, right? Guest appearances still. I mean,
Still
you're
doing guest appearances. Of course, the past 2 years it's been a little slow, but things are taking off.
Shit show, we can say.
Yeah. So so this year I'm back to being. I'm not home for a weekend for a few months.
I feel that you might be more popular now than you've ever been. Do you feel that way?
I do. I think in 18 and 19, before everything shut down, I was on the road more and gone more
Yeah.
than I'd ever been. And I forget what the percentage was, but I was at home like maybe 15 weekends and 19. I was gone all the time. And which is a good thing, but you got to have balance when you have a family. For the first time, I think I let business get out of balance with the family that year. And then, of course, COVID happened and everything shut down.
Brought you back
Yeah, brought me back. So.
You know why I think that is, though? A lot of the young guys now that are coming up, they don't want to do appearances. So I have promoters that'll call me and say, I want this guy, this guy, this guy, or this guy. And they all say, I don't want to do it. So then I call someone like you or Jay or someone that's retired, and you guys want to do it. Because when you guys came up, that's how you made your extra money.
Yeah,
You had to travel every weekend or you didn't get paid.
Yeah, I don't get that. You gotta, and plus it builds your fan base.
Of course.
You go out there, the people get to see you, and I mean, every time you meet somebody, it doesn't matter. They don't know. I might just had a fight with my wife because she didn't cook my food that morning or something. I had to let her know what's up.
Yeah.
But
He's saying that on camera now.
Yeah, right.
From a distance.
yeah, she's on the other side of the room. I got a big table in between us. But my point being is, like, they don't know what kind of day you're having. But when you do an appearance, you get out there and you take a few minutes, you talk to everybody, you say, hey, what's up? And then the guy was like, wow, man, Branch was cool. He took time to talk to me, and now you got a fan for life. And you do that over 20 years.
Yeah. And guess what? Those guys come to your website.
That's right.
And they buy stuff from you. They buy autographs, or they support other brands that you have.
And I know what it's like to be a fan. I know it, man. And so when I became Branch, the pro bodybuilder, I get it, because I had a bad experience when I was young with a pro bodybuilder. And
We all have, yeah.
And so I told myself right then, I was like, if I'm ever that guy, I'm not going to act like that.
Yeah. So, yeah. I try to tell all the young guys coming up that.
But I feel that today, I think the generation now looks at the people like us and they have way more respect than we actually received when we were doing it then.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think that circles back to, because with the new age, you don't see these guys doing a lot of the stuff that we did, right? Number one, they don't, like you said, they don't travel as much. So it was like trying to balance, how do you travel and eat the food, train consistent? Like, when you're out of your realm and you're not at your home gym, like, do you have to lighten up the weights a little bit or the intensity stay the same? There's a lot of variables on how your body's going to react, right? So I think that respect factor is more prevalent now with, what they're watching of the old videos of you and, some of the pictures, and like, you're known as like this hardcore guy, but you're still doing it. That's the thing, is like, I think you train just as hard now as you ever did. You probably don't eat as much. I mean, you still look the part, but
no, I don't eat as much. I eat.
You feel you train hard, like intensity wise, maybe not at a crazy weights, right?
Yeah, I definitely don't go as heavy. I'm not as strong as I
yeah.
And I don't.
When is it going to stop though? This is what I'm still trying to figure this out, because I see these videos and I'm like, how the hell is he still doing this? And I feel bad for Guy, because Guy's trying to keep up with you. Right? I'm going to call Guy out because I just watched something and he was doing front raises. Were you part of that too, Michael? Or okay, you must have been filming it. So I saw these crazy, I don't know, it was like 65s or I don't know. How much was it? Some video I just saw. It was a lot, but it was more than what Guy's sister Nino could do. And he's trying to keep up with you because
he did legs with me in Austin. That didn't go so well.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know, that's right. Yeah, okay, yeah. So he didn't blame you.
He didn't blame you though.
He didn't blame you.
No, and I'm not talking shit about him either. I mean, it just he did a leg extension. I've never even heard of
Yeah.
heard a leg extension, but that's crazy, right? But man, I like to train. I mean, I'll put you this way, Jay. Some people train because they're bodybuilders. I was a bodybuilder because I love to train.
Yeah.
There's a difference. And I love to train. I don't go as heavy as I used to go. I'm not that strong anymore.
How many days a week you train now?
4.
So what's your schedule?
Monday I do chest. Tuesdays legs, quads, hams, calves, all that. Thursdays back. Fridays I do biceps, triceps, and
Take the weekends off and
weekends off. Weekends for the family.
So, you know, I have 200 athletes in the team. And,
this is Team GASP now, right?
Team GASP Better Bodies.
Okay.
and we travel the world, and we have these young people with us. And Branch is always on schedule with his food, his training. It's way more bodybuilding.
Is he more dedicated than anyone you've ever seen? Is that because he's sitting here, or? Okay.
I mean, my ultimate respect, and also a little bit like, you know, what I get out of the GASP comes a lot from Branch and what we do together.
The work ethic.
You know, nowadays it's easier for guys to travel now. Like there's food prep. So you could go somewhere and have your food lined up for you.
Don't get me started with this crap. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
No, we want to hear
I'm not
it.
going to name the athlete, but there's an athlete for the Arnold. Set up a photo shoot, and remember we would do the Arnold, get done to prejudging, and this is our prejudging and finals were on the same day. So after the prejudging, you had to go to the booth, work the booth for a couple hours, run back to your room, fix your tan, try to lay down for 30 minutes, get up, go back, compete. Next day you had booth work all day plus photo shoots. And these photo shoots were like 8, 10, 12 hours sometimes, and they were the real deal. And you might do shoots for 2, 3, 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
Muscle Tech would fly somewhere and we'd shoot for
Mhm.
days. And so this dude says, well, man, I've got to shoot at 9 o'clock, you know, from like 9 to 11. Now I need to go back to my room and rest and eat. And then maybe, you know, like whatever later. I'm like, rest and eat. I'm like, well, first of all, you pack your food, take it with you.
Yeah.
And there's no rest, bro. You're here to work. Work. You know, and it's and all these meal preps. First of all, I wouldn't eat a meal prep anyway because if I didn't cook it or she didn't cook it, I didn't eat it. And number 2, don't be lazy, dude. Cook your own food. Get your ass up and cook your food. I mean, that's just part of being a bodybuilder, right?
Yeah.
That's more important than going to the gym.
You know what I was saying with like the meal prep. If you're off season, back then you had to bring your food with you. You had to travel it in a fucking cooler.
Correct.
Now, if you're off season, you can have people ahead. You can
Yeah,
you know, get your food ahead of time.
Even pre-contest, I don't think I would use meal prep now.
Yeah.
Off season, you know, meal prep, that would be a blessing.
Yeah, especially when you're traveling.
100%. You could.
Yeah.
That'd be so much easier. But we didn't have that luxury, man. You got to have a cooler. I remember us going to like, you know, do shoots or something, and he'd walk in with a cooler full of food. I'd walk in with a cooler full of food, and then some of the other guys wouldn't have anything, and they'd just be ordering stuff. And he looked at me one day and he goes, "Nah, you need to be a factor." I'm like, "Nope."
Mhm.
You know who's serious?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it all transitions into like business, and you're doing so this tour. I mean, you're going to obviously train this weekend, so you're kind of off schedule, right?
So we're doing a GASP World tour. So you know, we started doing these.
So what is the whole concept of this GASP tour a little bit? So
Work hard, play hard. It's kind of the whole concept of it.
Okay.
So
social media blitz, right? So you guys are
Correct.
posting it on YouTube or
we
like
got constant stories up, kind of. So the idea is to give everybody that looks at it, kind of make them feel like they're here doing what we do. And so you know, sometimes we've been to Europe, we've been to China, we've been all over the states, and so we're here in Vegas. We're going to be back in Vegas for the Olympia, and we're going to have like a kind of a new concept, kind of a tailgate party. We're going to unveil, and in conjunction with the Olympia. So you know, when you go to a football game, they've got tailgate parties, right? So
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. We'll have a barbecue, have a popcorn machine. Try to see if we can get a big screen TV set up and a tailgate in the parking lot.
I mean, you've been involved with GASP since
I was just going to say, how long have you
forever,
been
right?
with GASP?
Since before Christ.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like,
yeah.
as far back as I can think.
You were
you've
like the
always been there.
original.
You're like the
original.
guy that's been there for as far back as I can
So we
remember.
had like GASP sandals and kilts or whatever.
Is that the new launch? The new kills and sandals, GASP.
So I think it was 2008, right? We have this discussion all the time. So
14 years.
yeah, 2008 is when it started, and we met at the Arnold through Per Banal, and he introduced us.
I remember he was putting everyone in GASP clothing for the muscular development shoots. I mean, I remember seeing this stuff and thinking, wow, this is nice. And
GASP Better Bodies was a regional brand in Europe, Northern Europe. And so Michael had a vision to take it globally, wanted it to be an international brand. And, you know, I was an international bodybuilder, so I became the face of it. And so I guess kind of what
it's like a brotherhood, though. You got a big crew that goes alongside.
we do. So it's, I think you were in what, maybe a dozen countries back then? So now we're in,
You're Scandinavian, yeah, that's where you.
so now it's, now GASP Better Bodies is in 110 countries. So it's you know, I came on just as my career started to take off, and so as I grew, GASP grew, and went worldwide.
And tell me about Wicked Cuts.
So Wicked Cuts partnered up with Scott James, who owned BSN. He was the
I
founder.
spoke to him the other day, actually. We FaceTimed.
So we partnered up, and been 4 years ago, I guess we launched. May will be 4 years. So we partnered up, and we were on a flight together as he coming to here, and he said, "Hey, when we get back, let's go to lunch." I had an idea, and so we got back in town, went to lunch, and he said, "Hey, let's do beef jerky." And I was like, "Beef jerky?" He goes, "Yeah, think about it." He goes, "Beef jerky goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Sports supplements, you got the
It works
small-
well with you,
got the
too.
small
Yeah.
little slice of the pie if you're doing sports supplements, right? As in relation to the general population. So, and it works well with me. And so we went to work and made it happen. So we're in several thousand locations now across the country.
Everywhere, man. I see it.
So it's doing really well.
You've been nice enough to send me quite a bit.
Quite a
and-
few, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I know you're not a big jerky fan.
I know, but Dave loves it, you know, for JTV. He's like a huge fan. Anytime you guys need some promotion, it is the only jerky that I've ever actually tried, to be honest, but I love it. I mean, we've
Yeah,
eaten it.
Whenever he he doesn't eat it a lot, so I just take it from him. 'Cause I eat it.
Yeah, so I mean,
So
it's
it's gone very well.
I tried it the first time at the San Diego Fit Expo. No, not San Jose. You brought some with.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we got to get you.
so
some
you
Fit
must be
Expos,
in
too.
more, not just the fitness realm, but a lot of commercial stores.
So
and-
probably 90% of our business is outside of the fitness industry.
so gas stations and that
Gas
stuff.
stations, convenience stores.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about jerky, he goes in a gun store, he goes in
Yeah.
a hardware store, he goes in a movie theater, he goes everywhere. I mean, we're in doctors' offices, we're gyms. I mean, we got in Gold's Gym, all the Gold's Gym locations. We're Giant Eagle grocery stores up on the East Coast. We're in Pilot Flying J truck stops. So, 90% of our business is outside of the fitness world. So for me, it was cool just because this is our world, right? And this world, you know everybody.
Yeah.
So, to step outside of your comfort zone, go into another area, you got to be uncomfortable for a little bit to figure it out and make it work. So it's been a challenge, but I welcome a new challenge and to see if I can be successful outside of.
If someone wants to try Wicked Cuts for the first time, what's your extended flavor you think that's the best? I have a pre-workout that I have, and I have a flavor that I like the most. So
The best flavor of jerky you ever have is maple bacon.
you've sent it to me. I liked it. Yeah,
Maple bacon
it
is
was
so
good, right?
How come you haven't brought me
Hey,
any?
hey, like I say, one bite of maple
Because I ate it all.
It tastes so good, it'll make you slap your mama.
Yeah.
And not many people are going to remember what movie that's from.
So
You don't know.
So Wicked Cuts. What is it? Maple
Maple bacon.
bacon. Okay.
So it's actual bacon strips, guys. So we actually took actual bacon and figured out how to make it into beef jerky, or not beef jerky, but jerky. And man, it's got that maple marinade on it. Maple, it's so good.
Remind him when he gets back to Texas, he's gonna have to ship some over here for the podcast. For our samples.
Big bags.
We'll do a sample on one of the Cutler casts. We'll just bring some people.
Yeah. So you've been talking about the hunting, and we know you're a huge outdoors man. I mean, you have property also where you just
Yeah, so
strictly
I've got
hunt.
I've got a ranch, 160 acres,
Mhm.
northeast of Dallas. So we bought that. I grew up in the country, like I said earlier. So where I grew up, there's two things to do: drink beer, and hunt.
You don't drink beer.
I don't drink beer, so I hunted. And so I bought some property about 15 years ago out there in 160 acres. We built a house on it. We don't live there. We live in town, but so I got horses out there. And so in about 4 or 5 years here, I built a tactical range.
Mhm.
So we teach concealed handgun classes, urban tactical, church security teams, all these things we teach out there at the range. So it's pretty cool stuff. I brought GASP and the crew out there a few times and had some fun.
Yeah, I saw the videos.
Of course, the hunting thing, I was actually on a hunting show for 5 years
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so on the Outdoor Channel, and so we do a lot of bow hunting, stuff like that. And but I've been hunting my whole life.
What's your favorite to hunt? Okay.
That's number one is the best. My favorite meat. Elk meat, I think, is
Yeah.
the best. And number two, they're just cool. I mean, you're in the mountains where you hunt. It's just beautiful, and it's a lot of work. It ain't easy.
Elks are massive, right?
I mean, a big bull's 1,000 pounds,
Yeah.
and they're just cool. So
You know, Branch, we ate not long ago. You were telling me about the helicopter ride and going up and shooting hogs. So I think Jay and I need to come out there and do that and film it for the Cutler cast.
Do you do that or
No, I want to see you.
so I took
how many times? Oh, okay, okay.
Trish can shoot, y'all. So we got one of the first thing I did when we got together was I bought her a pistol, and I took her out there. And of course, her dad hunts, her brother hunts. They shoot, but he never took her hunting. So I taught her how to shoot. Well, fast forward like 15 years, dude, she can shoot. Like I shot with her last week. I had to bring my A game to like.
So
beat her.
you still shoot consistently or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we shoot all the time, and I took her helicopter hog hunting back last year, end of the year. When was it? Pretty recently. November maybe. Yeah. So she's didn't hesitate. She had an AR. Was laying waste to him. So she did really good. So I took MJ about 2 years ago. We went and we get up there. Yeah. So he's hanging out of the helicopter with this thing. So I wasn't. There was four of us. So it was him and one of my other buddies went. And we can still see the helicopter. And then we hear this like empty the whole magazine.
Yeah.
And, so I guess I'm talking to my buddy, and I go, "What's up?" He goes, "Man," he goes, "We go with this hog," and he goes, "There's several of them," and he goes, "Michael shoots it again," and he goes, "You got the little microphone thing."
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, "Man, it won't die." And he goes, "Well, keep shooting it." So Michael empties the whole magazine of this thing. He goes, "I got that motherfucker."
Yeah.
So we got to do that. I want to see you hanging out the side of a helicopter.
That could be a good bucket list for. I'll tell you what I want to ask about though. Are you on a dirt bike yet?
The dirt bike?
Yeah.
No, that's him.
I know, but that's why I'm asking because I know you're. I mean, I grew up on ATVs and three wheelers. I didn't ride dirt bikes as much. I rode street bikes. How are you not on a dirt bike with this guy? Because I know he's big into it.
See, I ride four-legged horses. So,
Okay.
I actually just did my first killing horse competition 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, so got second.
You're still getting into competitions, man.
It's just,
See, you know,
Your
one
buddy.
other thing with the horse. Talk about the situation in Generation Iron.
That's all. Yeah, he hates that.
I know, but
all right, so all right, guys. So
I wanna
everybody
know the
listen to this.
story.
We're gonna put this to rest.
yes,
So they wanted to get a scene of me in my house on a horse, right? So I went to catch him, and I couldn't even catch him because they had like 13 people in that crew.
Too many people.
Too many people, too many cameras. The horse was
I've
freaking
heard
out.
this story, so
Yeah, I've told it to you. So I had to get the horse calmed down. It took me about 20 minutes to get him calmed down. And I made everybody go away. And I said, Vlad, the producer, and the cameraman, I said, everybody else has got to go away. And so I got him saddled, rode him around for a minute. We got in front of the house, and we had a little rodeo because all the guys came back up there. And I told everybody, go away. Well, as we're sitting there doing a little interview on the horse, guys with the big boom mic thing, the big fuzzy thing on the microphone, my horse sees it and freaks out. And so as I'm riding him back, we already had a little rodeo. He tried to bug me off, and he didn't. And as I'm going across the driveway there, he bugs. And I came off, hit the concrete. Wouldn't have been so bad if it had been the ground, but the concrete sucks. Hit my head. And then I told Vlad, I said, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't put that in the film because you guys are the ones who spooked my horse after I told you guys to back off. And I said,
yeah, it looks bad. Yeah,
I did get hurt. And I said, I don't really think that
it's proper. Yeah,
it's proper. And he said, I won't ask him twice. And twice he told me, gave me his word he wouldn't do it. Well, we go to the premiere in New York. He sends Robin Chang over to tell me, hey, man,
kept that
put
in.
that in there. And to this day, he still won't talk. He's never
Explained.
explained it.
you could have got really hurt. You could have.
Yeah, I mean, I landed on the concrete and I smacked the crap out of my head.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, people say, anybody who ever rides horses a lot, you ask any cowboy, everybody gets bucked off. Of course, that happens.
Yeah.
It's just happens. But these guys filmed it, and because they caused it, and then they put it in the movie, which everybody saw.
It's fucked up.
So not cool.
Yeah, I know a lot of people always ask about that. Yeah, so talk about Texas a little bit with everyone kind of, I think a lot of people are moving to Texas now. I mean, do you feel like
Hey, Texas
it's
is America.
invasive or
You know what? Everybody's welcome, man. Just don't. You know, Texas is the way it is because of how we are, how we think.
will you
So-
ever leave? You're there for life. Now I know we talked about maybe some
I'll leave, I'll go
summer
to-
places.
If I leave,
or
I'll go to
winter
Montana.
Yeah, I know you like
Yeah,
that
I
spot.
love Montana. We got some friends that live there. Actually, we just found some land we want to go look at up there potentially, and
What part of Montana?
right outside of Whitefish in Kalispell, that Flathead Valley.
Yeah.
So
That's where Dana and Rob live. My uncle lives there too.
Yeah.
He lives right on Lake.
He talks about Montana all the time. Like he just wants to
I
escape.
told him when I
and-
leave here, I'm going to Montana and I'm deleting all my social media and everything. I'm done.
I don't think I could ever leave Texas. My family
For-
from Texas
yeah.
since like 1800s, and the ranch I grew up on has been in the family since like the 1870s, and
Your
At
daughter's how
least
old
50
now?
50.
yeah,
she's 10
in a
now.
perfect world going forward, and one day hopefully I'll be able to spend the summers and falls in Montana, the winters and spring in Texas. So I love Montana. It's beautiful. I love the mountains. You know, I would rather be outside than inside. And there's so much outdoor stuff.
You're an outdoors guy, man, for life, huh?
For sure.
And you know what? It's even lower taxes in Montana than Texas.
Yeah.
And you, you have obviously stayed really busy. I mean, between work and, I mean, how do you find time to balance all this stuff? I mean, you still have a family. I mean, you
I'm
mentioned your
busy.
daughter's 10 years old.
Yeah, so my daughter's 10. She's in gymnastics. She's doing really, really good. She rides horses with me some. She's making straight A's. She got the Respect Award last year for the whole grade. So I'm more proud about that than I am the straight A's with gymnastics. To me, that's the most important thing. So she's a great kid, doing great. So it's kids are the best.
if you guys take a family vacation, like, is it going to be involved outdoors type stuff, or do you actually travel to?
Yes, she's laughing because for me, if I go on vacation, it's got to be something that's.
And you're not gonna be cooped up inside and like enjoy. You're not going on a cruise or anything like that, right?
No, she would do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But like
I hate
like,
cruises
we're
too. That's why I'm
like a
asking.
beach
We're planning a vacation to go to South Africa to go on a safari.
Oh, that's pretty
See,
cool.
that's-
So because I
That's
want to,
awesome.
When are you gonna do that?
So we may go in the summertime,
Okay.
depending on the schedule. I've got a friend lives down there.
hmm
I want to take Faith. We did that back in '08, and we just went and took pictures and did that kind of stuff. And like I told Trish, I said I want Faith to go see this because I'm afraid going forward this may not exist.
Yeah.
When you got there and you see 1,000 animals in a herd, out there and all these things. It's cool, and I just want her to be able to see that and experience that.
Is there any place in the world that you want to travel to at this point that's on a bucket list? Whether it's a vacation or just maybe on one of these GASP tours or business, or
I don't think.
and we've been everywhere. I mean,
I was talking about that the other day. I looked through my old passport, and it was like 66 countries.
yeah.
And every state. I think.
Like I want to go to Thailand. That's on my New Zealand. I haven't been to New Zealand. I've been to Australia, obviously, but I haven't been to Thailand. It's on my bucket list.
I've been all over New Zealand, from Christchurch to Auckland to everywhere in between, like 4 or 5 times. Beautiful. New Zealand's gorgeous because we did all kinds of outdoor stuff over there. We went on a vacation there in 2015 after the Arnold, and beautiful. I don't think there's really anywhere I haven't been. The only thing that I want to see that I haven't seen, I want to see the pyramids in Egypt.
I just did that a couple months ago. It was just,
You can't take pictures in front of them, you know.
so you're not supposed to take pictures in front of it. So Regan competed there at Big Romney Show. So we go over there, and Regan rips his shirt off, and he jumps up. So we start taking pictures, and the police came and took the camera and deleted everything. So, but they didn't know, like, I was taking pictures from my phone, so we still got them. But they're like, you can't they thought they were going to, like, do something with marketing. You can't profit from the pyramids without paying, like, a fee to do a photo shoot there. So I have a picture of me up there right before the police rushed us.
Yeah, do you think you would go down inside? I mean, Dennis James would tell you, like, you literally can go and you can't turn around. You have to go all the way before
crawl.
before you turn around. There's it opens up and then you can go back, but there's not enough space to even
You have to crawl through a tunnel.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
So, yeah, I mean, I want to go see it. We've been blessed. I mean, I know you have to.
Yeah.
Seen the world, literally. I mean, I tell people, I sat back when I was all done. I said, wow, for the past 20 years, I got to do what I love to do for a living, get paid to do it. I used to laugh. I'm like, I get paid how much? To do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I would have done this. We would have still been doing it. Had we never got paid
For free.
for free. And and then you actually get to make a really good living doing it, and then you get to see the world and experience so many different things. And I've got friends all over the world that I would have never had. And you can imagine coming from West Texas, what my outlook on life was as a kid, because it's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
And then you got to the world and opened your mind up, and you changes your opinion about something.
You never went into a contest thinking about a check, did you? Never. I was the same way. I never thought about, wow.
That's not how you do it.
I remember people would say after a show, you won this much, or like, oh, okay, that's a bonus. But I was just concerned about beating people and having a title and like fulfilling like what I possibly could do, right? I never imagined I'd be as successful. I'm sure you felt the same way. I think a lot of that has really kind of, like I said, been presented to people now, and they have so much respect for you. I appreciate you coming out and spending time with us. And listen, I would love to, if you ever get into the podcasting, I'd love to come on and shoot it over. And
we need to go. We need to go to Texas and go film this. I want to see you on that helicopter.
I guess we have a challenge. And Michael, just get a 250 ready for me, because I'll. Okay.
Put you on a horse.
Yeah, well, I had a horse. I had horses growing up. My brother's still a big farmer. He still has he has like 60 beef cows, and he has like 20 pigs, chickens. But okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that. That's right.
We got a couple of race cars, and at the Eagles Canyon track there up outside Decatur. So that's fun.
Who was the best? Unofficial. Who do you think performed the best of race? I'm not gonna. You're gonna say you, right? But of the guys. Don't flatter yourself here. Who was the best of the bodybuilder crew?
I don't think we have matched them up yet. The ranch is actually going to do a course here on the 2nd of April. So he's going to get some.
What kind of car?
BMW M2.
Okay. Ohani would love that. He loves the little. He has a little BMW.
I was talking to him about it last week.
Yeah.
He didn't know about it, and I told him where it was at. I go, it's like 45 minutes from South Lake. So I think we're gonna take him up there.
That's great, man. It's awesome. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming out, man. It's awesome, and I'm glad you got to stop this way with the tour. I hope it goes extremely well. Where can everyone find out about what you have going on besides, I've mentioned all your social outlets? And
so go to The Branch Warren on Instagram
Okay.
or Facebook. I've got April 9th, Fort Worth. I've got Fort Texas, got the Texas Legends show, my show where we promote. Then May 7th, I've got Denver, Branch Warren Classic in Denver. It's actually in Boulder. And you can go to metroflexevents.com to get information for all these shows. And then, of course, my big show of the year is the Branch Warren Classic down in Houston. It's our 14th or 15th year to have this show, big show.
you have like 1,000 competitors usually,
Yeah,
right?
so we had last year 2,200 competitors.
Jeez.
Shit.
And not just NPC, so that's NPC with jiu-jitsu, powerlifting, strongman.
It's an
CrossFit.
expo type thing.
Yeah, so we
Who
have
dates that?
So we had a real huge crowd. It's a really big show. We ran out about almost 200,000 square feet and fill it up. So it's taken a while to get to that size, but we were 19 and we're 20 and 21. It was a disaster because of COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
we went big last year, and everybody showed up. So it was cool. And so this year we're on track to be the biggest one yet. So April 9th, Fort Worth, May 7th, Denver, and then June 25th is the grand finale in Houston. So it's a great fun event. So
And you never know, you might show up in one of the GASP tours at the local gym, and people can get excited for the Olympia this year.
Right now we got I got so much going on. Of course, I'm doing so for Apollo Nutrition, representing those guys.
Mhm.
So big shout out to Rob and Kay for them. And so I know they're going through some stressful times. They're both from Ukraine, so they have
Okay.
family and stuff over
Yeah,
there.
it's tough. Yeah.
Send a prayer out for them and all their family. Then we got the GASP World Tours going on. We got this one. We got Sweden coming up April 13th through the 26th. We'll be in Sweden, Stockholm. We got 2 shows on the 16th and 17th. That we promote, GASP Better Bodies promotes. So we'll be there. Guy will be there with us. We're doing commentary for it. Then after that, we got.
I'm gonna go to my little Metroflex where I'm
Okay, so
we're going to Sadar where get all GASP
Where
Body
it started, yeah.
So we'll go there and do some stuff there. Then after that, we're doing San Diego. We got 40th anniversary of Better Bodies coming up in Destination in August. Then we're going to Sweden again for the 40th anniversary right after that, first part of September. And then, of course, we'll be back here for the Olympia. So we've got a tailgate party coming and some cool stuff.
Yeah, well, it's exciting, man, and I'm happy for you. And you know, I'm sure we'll catch up to you somewhere along these trips. And best success, and you know, stay healthy, keep training like crazy, and we appreciate you so much, man. And make sure you guys follow along. So we're out.